Hello. I was trying to decide what to talk about on this first video here. And I think I'd like to talk about emergence and AI and the human brain in general. I'm on this beautiful trail near Monument, Colorado, and there are living things all around. Got some trees. There's some flowers. I can hear quite a lot of bees buzzing around. It's that time of year. They're starting to come out for the summer. They've been out for a little while, to be honest. But there's life all around. And I don't think that AI is alive. And I think I have a pretty good suspicion of what it would take to get it to a place where AI could be called alive. And I think we're a long way from that. Also just stumbled upon a spot here that does not look like the trail I'm used to. So I have veered off the trail. I have to look at my map here. Oh yes, we'll go this way. So, is AI alive? Not now. Can the emergent properties start to exist in the near future that lets us put that label on computer systems? Even regardless of how we scale those systems horizontally, I think there's another component of it that's missing. See, all biological life that we know of exists, that biological signal, the consciousness that makes us us, that exists in an analog state machine where there are no quartz crystalline ticks of a clock. I think we have this thing in physics called the Planck length, or Planck. Sorry, Germans or French. And that's like sort of the smallest unit of measurement for space. And I think such a thing may or may not be invented. Concept of like a Planck time, maybe loosely or strongly related to absolute zero temperatures in some way. Some other fancy physics stuff that I don't claim to be an expert in. But AI, what would it take? So AGI is a marketing term. I think a lot of the big AI companies started, feeding off Sam Altman's suggestion of this. It's a marketing term. It's a marketing term that basically means that eventually an appropriately scaled computer system can solve problems faster and better than humans can solve the same problems. And I believe that is probably a thing that's coming soon. And I believe we should all be afraid of that. Not because I think it's going to take over the world or set off nuclear firestorms or anything like that, but I think it's going to take a lot of jobs. I think it is going to serve to do the thing that political parties regularly argue about, which is, and I'm not getting into the politics of it, I have not really formulated a strong opinion about whether or not, which side of that spectrum I sit on in terms of this particular situation. But yeah, it's going to take a lot of jobs, and it's going to serve to enrich the rich further, and to impoverish the impoverished even further. And I think that's the risk with AGI. Conscious, that's not what they're talking about anymore. I think probably these things were tossed around in, a few years ago, the beginning of all the AI hype and excitement. But not conscious, not AGI. But do I think a time will come where a computer system could be conscious? I don't think so. With the technology we are currently using and aware of, and have sort of in the focal lens of the future. It's a good hike. I'm a little winded. I've been told I should slow down and speak slower anyways, though, so. Take a look. This is the peak up here that I'm eventually going to be heading to. So I believe it's called Raspberry Mountain, or the Raspberry Loop or something along those lines. I love this trail though. It reminds me of like a hybrid of the Pacific Northwest and the high desert sort of Colorado. Yeah, I've yet to see any other sizable life out here, if you know what I mean, which is probably a good thing. Emergence. The idea that a lot of these tiny constituent things can work together to create a concept such as consciousness. Why don't I think that could happen in computers? Well, I think it could. I don't think it could happen in digital computers without horizontal and vertical scale that we just do not have the resources to build in our world, in our solar system, maybe even in our universe. I think there are probably some spooky limits to physics in that regard. And why do I think that? Well, I'm going to formulate this thought. I do need to look at my map again, though. Oh, wow. Yeah, we're totally good. Okay. It's yeah. It's going to be a brutal climb for a little while. So I will likely be speaking even slower and more out of breath for a bit. Anyways. And I'm simplifying here when I say this. I know there's going to be a load of AI engineers, computer scientists, whoever, that might take argument with this. Argument that I'm going to make. And that's beautiful. And that's okay. I'm not an expert on any of this. But I think the activation functions that exist in digital neural networks that make up the artificially intelligent systems that we currently have, primarily talking about, ChatGPT, large language models of whatever size. Even the best models running in the best data centers, the best transformer layers, still digital. Plenty of floating point numbers exist. As measures of weights and biases and probably even stuff I don't even know about. But computers don't do floating point numbers particularly well in certain cases. I think they're really good. I'm a child of the 80s. And we've come a long way. But between every single tick of precision in the floating point number, there exists infinity. Infinity that is reachable in an analog system. And while this may sound minor, I believe this to be a huge burden to trying to create a conscious, cognitive system inside of a computer as we know it. Now, quantum maybe, I don't know, not my wheelhouse. I understand the general ideas. I don't think it helps a whole lot for this. There's some scary stuff in quantum. Also some really cool stuff. Wow, this is a very steep climb. This is, here, I'll try to put the camera level, although the camera never does justice to inclines, but this is level. That's the hill I'm climbing up. It's about 1,000 feet of this. Which is fine with me, as long as it doesn't rain. This will be a muddy mess to come down if it rains. And it might. Ooh. So that's the basis of my argument against computers as we know them being capable of simulating actual human intelligence or cognition, consciousness. It is starting to rain. Speaking of life, the mosquitoes are already out also. It's not great. Checking my map again. Wow. Coming up on a junction here shortly. Maybe the trail gets a bit easier. But yeah, there are a wide variety of subjects like this that I have ideas about, and they don't seem, I mean, they have no scientific backing in general, just like this subject didn't. But I suspect there's some truth to them. Not educated on this stuff, but I am very smart, intelligent myself, in some ways at least. Maybe not emotionally. Certainly have a story about that I can talk about eventually. Emergence. So, the analog biological consciousness, intelligence, brain. The activation functions for these neurons are not just functions. They're these things that happen just before the trigger of the functions. There are neurochemical transmitters. Different chemicals do different things at the onset and the outset of different signals that happen based on these activation functions in a biological brain. And the world of possibilities that can exist between the 0 and the 1 of any particular parameter of those activation functions, including the output of the activation function, is an infinite world of possibilities. That, who knows, could be wrapped up inside strings, inside of however all the string theory stuff works. Which I think string theory is largely debunked now. Or at least vastly more complicated than we used to think it. I don't think we can do that with computers. Not with silicon. Not with copper. Not with electrons pulling one another around circuits. I don't think we can do it. Oh, this is very, very loose here. All right. This seems like a much better trail. I think perhaps I was on the more advanced offshoot of the normal trail, and it is raining a bit. I think the magic of consciousness is, in fact, what exists between those zeros and ones. And I don't think that's something we can replicate. So, that's my opinion, based on very little actual scientific evidence. But I think some of this scientific evidence is unknowable. Wow. Yeah, some of that evidence is unknowable. Some is knowable with technologies we may have not developed yet. Maybe quantum can help with that. As far as the usefulness of what we have now and where I think it's going, I mean, I gave you my systematic and political and sort of economic concerns there. those hold true. I'm a software engineer. By trade, it's what I've done my whole life. And I like to consider myself far better at those things, especially in my early days of my career. Far better as an engineer and a programmer than most. A lot of good guys and women, children. Now, there didn't used to be. There's a little waterfall over here. I don't know if you can hear it. I'm going to stop talking for a minute. Let you listen to this waterfall. I can't see it, but it's over there. The usefulness of AI now. Well, it's gotten better, but I still would hesitate to use it for legal arguments. I think that's actually interesting. That's another subject where, now I'm speaking metaphorically here, but legal arguments, that's another subject where there's a whole world of possibility that exists between the 0 and the 1. And not to mention it might, completely hallucinate case law still. They've trained the models to be better at this somehow. Or, yeah, I guess it all comes down to training. Maybe some safeguards in the context and prompts, but can definitely write code though. If you are a software engineer and that's your only skill, you need to right now, today, or tomorrow if it's late, you need to do one of 3 things. Focus on another career area, or get really good at using AI to do your job. You need to, right now, you need to start augmenting what you're doing on a daily basis with AI such that you are 10 to 20 times more productive. If you're average, again. Outliers to that. Or, you need to take advantage of AI in some other way. It helps you secure your job. A lot of possibilities there. I know I'm being very vague, but for instance, you could take advantage of AI to be your personal leadership coach. I don't think that leadership jobs in tech and engineering and product are going to be replaced by AI yet. Maybe never, because creativity, another subject, like the legal subject where a whole world of possibilities exists between the margins of what a computer can possibly do. A good designer can do things that I couldn't even dream of doing. Shout out, Jeff. talking about you, a couple other of your guys and gals. But, you know, in my case, I was a CTO for a lot of years, tech lead at one of the big guys for a while. And now I'm just an engineer again. Oh wow. Wow, this view. Incredible view. I don't know whether that's Monument still or I think it's called Parker. But yeah, just north of Colorado Springs. But yeah, I've had lots of interesting experiences in my career. I think I was all set up to, let's see, I'm 41 now. Yeah, I think I was pretty set up to actually retire in my 40s sometime. That's not going to happen now. I'll save that reasoning for another video. It's probably not what you think. But that's okay. I love working. But I do think AI changes the dynamic. Oh, definitely something mammal size that is alive over there. Can't see it, but I heard it. Well, I think that's it. I do this a lot. I'll try to bring you along from now on. Got lots of things I could talk about. Some that have nothing to do with any of this. Most. I think the rain's gonna hold off, so I'm gonna say goodbye for now and look at my map and try to actually jog the rest of the way here. I'll stitch in a little piece of the summit if I make it up there, if the rain holds off. Bye for now.